I've been practicing for a couple of months and I was just really didn't have any clients. So I was just attending every Rotary Club I could find, every networking group. And then I got diagnosed with cancer, actually. So I had lymphoma and had to go undergo some pretty intensive chemo. You know, just God gave me a second chance.
Right.
And I'm just going to go for it. Like, I'm going to just build this business big because I only got one shot and I got nothing to lose, right?
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Practical Law. Practical Law is a podcast that deals with the business of law, practicing law, and offers actionable insights to legal professionals and the man on the street. So at this episode, we are very excited to have Holly Simpson of the Simpson Law Firm here to talk about her practice, the growth of her practice, her passion for probate estates and wills, and scaling her law firm to be the largest probate trust estate practice in the Carolinas, which will probably be happening soon. We're really lucky to have Holly. Holly, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
You are stopping here on your way to CRISP in Atlanta, is that right?
Yes, I am. Yeah, so you're about halfway there, and I come from Fort Mill, South Carolina.
Before we get started, you know, I've introduced you, your wonderful law firm, but tell us about the Simpson Law Firm and more importantly about you. Just give us a little background.
Yeah, so I think a lot of lawyers, maybe don't have traditional paths to going to law school. There's some people that just grow up their whole lives knowing they're going to be lawyers, and I wasn't one of those. I don't think you were either. It's
I
like
was not.
You come into it. In fact, I started out life as a family therapist. So I graduated in psychology, got my master's degree as a clinical counselor, and I spent about 12 years counseling children, families, doing a lot of marriage counseling. And during that time, I had a lot of opportunities to go to court and testify in child custody cases, divorce cases. And I thought, I want to do what those lawyers are doing.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I also thought they're getting paid a little bit more than me too to be here in the
sure.
same room. And how fun to really help families that way. So went to law school thinking I'm going to be a family therapist. I get to law school and I loved it. I loved it so much. And I got there and I realized I always felt like a little bit of fish out of water as a counselor. Those people, their brains just worked a little bit different than mine. So I always felt like a little bit different than them. But in law school, the second day I was there, I thought, these people think like I do. And that's weird. Like, it's not normal how we think. But yeah, so I just loved law school and realized that I was not cut out for family law.
Right.
Loved contracts to estates. And so it just seemed like a natural next step to go into contracts and estates and estate law. And the other reason I did it is I was interning at a family law firm. And I think you maybe dabbled into family law.
Yeah, a little bit when I first started out.
Yeah. Yeah, and the people I were working with, they were so stressed.
Right.
And being a little bit older, I thought, oh gosh, I do not want to be that stressed all the time.
No,
I did a lot of research and found out a lot of lawyers didn't like their jobs. And there's a lot of alcoholism lawyers, substance abuse, because they don't like their job and they're very stressed. And I thought, gosh, what have I just done? I got this law degree. I'm going to be stressed.
Right.
So did some research and turns out the kind of law I liked, which is estates law, those statistically are the happiest lawyers.
Right.
Happiest job satisfaction, I guess you'd say.
Got it. So you made the decision to focus on that practice area.
Yes, I did.
Well, once you would have graduated around 15, tell me what you did, like right when you came out of law school.
So I actually went and worked for a solo practitioner. He did just trusts and estates. And then after a year of that, I went to a bigger law firm, get some bigger law firm experience, also doing trusts and estates.
Okay.
And then realized I'm not the greatest employee in the world. So I just went off and started my own practice in trusts and estates, thinking I could work less.
Yeah.
I also have 6 children, and so that makes me a little unique as well. We're a Brady Bunch family, but we raised all 6 kids together, my husband and I, and had 6 kids at home when I went to law school. Man. So I thought it would give me a little more balance. But as you know, owning your law firm, you quit your job to work more hours for yourself.
That's it, right? No doubt.
Yeah, but I loved every minute.
Well, yeah, congratulations to you to taking that leap. You know, I talk to so many lawyers, I'm sure you do too, and they, I think, want to do something like that, but there's always a reason not to, right?
Yeah, it's scary.
It's scary. That's probably the big reason. But kudos to you for actually getting out there and doing it. Now, was all your legal practice work? Were you in Charlotte, Rock Hill area?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I was working for some attorneys and law firms in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And then when I opened my own firm, I live in Fort Mill, South Carolina. So I thought I'm going to get an office close to my house. And I really just thought I'd hang a shingle and it'd be me and a paralegal.
Yeah.
And it quickly just exploded. And I realized I like practicing law, but I love running a business more.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I got to hear this. And one of the things I love talking about with law firm owners is kind of how it starts, right? Kind of like going back to your roots and what the those first 6 months, the first year was like, right? I mean, tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I should say the second year blew up.
Yeah.
So the first year, it's just a big decision. You're going out on your own, and in trusts and estates, there's a lot of investments to start your business.
Sure.
And I didn't want to take out loans. And I remember my biggest decision right at the time, I thought, was should I invest a lot of money in this trusts and estates drafting software?
Okay,
Which at the
right.
time just seemed like so much money,
Right.
And I was so nervous about it, and I did it, made the plunge. And after I've been practicing for a couple of months, and I was just really didn't have any clients, so I was just attending every Rotary Club I could find, every networking group, begging to speak in front of people. And then I got diagnosed with cancer, actually. So so I had lymphoma and had to go undergo some pretty intensive chemo for about 8 months. And so I did a few wills here and there, and it actually was good for me while I had cancer because it kept my mind off of things, right?
Yeah, sure.
It kept my mind healthy. And so my business really slowed down, but it also gives you a chance when you have those kind of diagnoses that it's like gives you a chance to reevaluate your life. And I thought, if I come through this, I lost my hair the whole bit,
Right.
just wore wigs to all of my signing appointments with clients, and just God gave me a second chance.
Right.
And I'm just going to go for it. Like, I'm going to just build this business big because I only got one shot and I got nothing to lose, right?
That's an amazing story. Yeah, no,
So-
and congratulations too on beating the cancer. You look great. I mean, my goodness, I know that that must have been challenging. So you're going around, you're speaking at these Rotary clubs, you're trying to grow your business. What was there a tipping point where you really started to see a bunch of cases come in, or was there a thing you did that made the difference, or was it just a collection of a lot of that?
Yeah, I think, maybe you were the same way. That first year, I didn't really have clients. And even when I got better from having cancer, I really hit the networking scene again.
Sure.
And I spent about 20 hours a week, literally just having coffee with people, taking people to lunch, taking people to dinner, financial advisors, anyone I thought we might have some kind of mutual business association, other lawyers. And then I just kept up with those people, whether through emails or reaching out again, let's meet for coffee. And that did start to snowball things.
Right. I mean, the phone starts ringing.
Yeah. And then from there, I just realized back from my family therapy days, my clients that were getting divorced, their lawyers, they were always complaining to me that their lawyers never called them back.
Right.
And that their lawyers were missing deadlines. And I just thought, well, that's kind of simple. All I got to do to be good in this business.
Right. I'm better than the competition if I return phone calls and meet deadlines.
And I don't miss deadlines. So I thought, well, we got some, law practice management software. We can hit deadlines. And if I just hire some people to answer the phone all the time and train my paralegals, if we just treat clients really well, they refer their friends. And so all that just kind of compounded.
I think these guys, my marketing director, Aaron, he probably gets sick of me saying it, but I always say, like, our most valuable resource is right there. We have their names, we have their addresses, we have their contact information, and it's our former clients. And one, by doing a great job for them, we're going to get referrals. And two, by, nurturing that relationship after your representation is over, is huge. Like, because to me, always the most frustrating thing was this. If you ever had this happen, let me know, is you do a great job for a client in a case. The case is over. And then 3 years later, I would see them and they would say, oh, I got hit by a FedEx truck. And I was like, oh my gosh, Sam, I'm so sorry that happened. I know you've got a lawyer. Why didn't you call me? And he says, oh, well, I use so-and-so. I'm sorry. I just didn't think about you, Chris. And it's like, oh my gosh, he was happy with me. He wasn't mad with me. I just wasn't top of mind. And I didn't nurture that relationship like I should have to make sure that it was just a no-brainer and that there was no way he was going to call anybody with me if something like that happened.
Yeah, he's crazy. He should have. He should have called the best, right?
Right. Well, yeah, I don't know about that. But it's just the idea of, they're such a valuable referral source, your clients.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We tried to get some strategic things in place where we reach out. Well, we have newsletters, I'm sure you do too. But also for our clients, we just offer everyone a free review of their estate plan every 3 years. So that gives us it's just another touch point.
Another touch point.
Yeah, and whether they don't need hopefully they don't need anything because their life hasn't changed for the worse in the last 3 years, but keeps us top of mind, and maybe they're telling their neighbor about us. Or,
right. Tell me this, in what year did you start the law firm?
2018.
Okay, so we're talking 2018, it's you and
me.
And that's it.
First,
so here we are 7 years later. Tell us about the firm now.
Yeah, so we have 6 lawyers. A job offers going out in the next few days to a 7th lawyer. One of those is me, but
right. So you're part of the 6.
I'm part of the 6.
I got it.
Total, we have about 32 staff, so 32 minus 7 and numbers.
We talked about this, but it is striking how similar, and just in size, our law firms are. So
Yeah.
right now, we have 6 lawyers, including me. We have about 28 staff. It's just literally the same in size. And that's amazing, though. That is truly amazing. In 7 years to grow from you to, 30 people is really something else.
It's been a wild ride.
I bet.
You've been on the same ride with your firm.
I mean, let me ask you this. Has it been a constant kind of upward trend, or is it kind of peaks and valleys?
I'd say constant upward trend if you look at the years.
Right.
Day to day, hour to hour, peaks
right.
and valleys. There's highs and lows. I think being an entrepreneur or a business owner, it's like waking up every day and you're thinking it's going to be a great day, and you walk in the office and you get hit with some real bad news, or some big problem you got to solve. And part of it's just keeping the right mental mindset to just be like, okay, we got this.
100%.
Finish our day and let's do it again tomorrow.
When you're, growing the firm and y'all are getting bigger and you're getting bigger, what drove that? Was it was your goal, I just want growth, I want to see how big I can do this, I want to make this big a footprint as I can? Tell me, what was your motivating factor?
Yeah, so I shared, just surviving cancer and feeling like you got a second chance at life. Right. And you didn't, I don't know, I got 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, I don't know. And then you just start growing, and then I just thought, I was having fun. Right. And it just seemed like a challenge. Like, I remember I had a mentor before I went to CRISP, and he told me how much he was making as a trust and estates lawyer. And I just couldn't believe it. He threw out a number, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was possible.
Sure. And
then I go to CRISP, and I hear someone else is making even, 10 times that, and
who is it at CRISP? And I know we're just talking about this. His name escapes me right. I've met him like 4 times, but he has scaled and it's a probate estate.
Yes, he's my hero, Josh Nelson.
Josh Nelson, yes, Josh is great. He's such a nice guy.
He is.
And I think I kind of started CRISP around the same time Josh did, maybe. And within a year or so, and it's just been wild to see his law firm.
I know. I love to watch him. I love to learn from him. Yeah, I feel like I'm like 20 steps behind him, but yeah.
But that's okay, man. But he really is kind of an inspiration to see, like, and he's very diligent on implementing, like, each step of his process. And so
yes, he's
great
fantastic.
To see him succeed.
But yeah, just getting the mindset of, oh, this is fun. And then I remember for a while I had the idea in my head, like, I want to be the largest trust and estates firm in the Carolinas, because we also practice in North Carolina, since we're right there in Charlotte as well. But I remember being afraid to say that out loud, thinking people are going to think I'm crazy if I say that.
No.
So it took a little courage. I told my staff, and they were all on board, and we're like, let's do this. And
isn't that a great vision? Like, now you've got, that's like a common purpose that you guys can reach for now. So let me ask you that. How are we doing on that? I mean, do you know who is the biggest? Yeah,
so there's different ways to measure big, right? Like, you could look at the number of lawyers. I was thinking by the number of families served.
Okay, I like that.
That's what I'm going for.
It's a good metric.
Kind of hard to measure, but we're getting up there. I'd say there's a couple firms in Raleigh that are maybe bigger. Mm-hmm. None that I know of. In the Charlotte area.
You're the biggest probate estate firm in Rock Hill, for sure. Right?
Oh, for sure in Rock Hill.
Yeah, definitely in Rock Hill.
For sure in Fort Mill.
But that's just amazing. You're on the way. I mean, and is that the continued plan? I mean, like you said, a job offer just went out, and so I mean, we're sticking to our guns that we're going to be the biggest law firm in
for
in the
today.
Carolinas,
That's
right? That's the plan.
As long as I'm on the earth, that's the plan. I guess.
I love it. I think you're going to accomplish that goal. The last thing I want to talk about kind of in business management is, and it's one of our topics, is artificial intelligence, AI, right? It's the hot topic today.
Yes.
How do you guys use AI in the practice, if at all yet?
Yeah, so we use a lot of ChatGPT and Grok we do a lot of contract drafting, right?
Sure.
And a lot of our stuff's in writing. Some of yours is too. So we use it a lot just for even simple things like proofreading, or my intakes team uses it a lot for answering questions or emails to difficult client, how do I answer this difficult client and being nice about it, Or
how can I respond professionally to this, rude attack?
So I've got one attorney, and he tends to write too much, and so he'll say to ChatGPT, take this that was too much and too complicated and distill it down so it's really easy for someone to understand,
Love it.
So we got that going. And then we also, trust and estates, there's a lot of accounting at the end.
Right.
And people send their account statements. And so we take out all the identifying information, put it in, ChatGPT, and it spits it out on a spreadsheet for us. So someone's not entering all the transactions.
I need to start using ChatGPT more. I've got one associate who loves it, and he's all over it. And I'm always the old man who's just like, no, and this is a good thing to be aware of, but watch out for HIPAA, make sure everything's closed off.
Yes.
I'm always like the gatekeeper, like preaching the dangers of AI. But we really have started to use it a little bit more too. And it's amazing what ChatGPT can do.
It is
if you
amazing.
really know how to drive the thing. I mean, it really
Yeah,
is
and just
crazy.
even asking it how to do things. I know we had a marketing meeting this morning. My marketing director just said, I forgot what she didn't know how to do, but she just typed, "How do I do this?"
Yeah. And it just,
Oh no, I know what it was. How do I get ranked in a ChatGPT?
Right, yeah.
Like how does my law firm show up in ChatGPT? And it gave
Kinda
me
gave
some
you a little
ideas,
guide.
whether they work or not. I don't know.
right, we'll
but
see. Well, that's what you're experimenting with.
Yeah.
How do you see that going forward? I mean, do you think we're all going to get replaced as lawyers one day? It's just going to be a computer.
I know. I thought a lot about that. I think my practice there, wills and trusts, maybe especially, it's
Right.
documents, right? It's document based.
Sure.
So I think, there's a risk that someone's going to be able to do a pretty good, decent will online one day by themselves.
Right.
And maybe there's a market for that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And so we have to differentiate ourselves by providing for more complex planning.
Yeah.
And then also just some people just want that human touch just to make sure it's done right.
Sure. I couldn't agree more.
And that they have the right legal advice. And, ChatGPT might make mistakes. More legal mistakes maybe than grammar mistakes.
Right. No, and look, and it's not perfect. I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
It's still got a lot of bugs. I hear you. I seem to think the same thing. I mean, I think in our field, the one thing that I don't see where AI could totally take over is the true trial work, litigation, right? Maybe one day we'll have AI go advocate in a jury trial. But I tell you what it can do now is it can do everything to help you get ready. It can brief the case. It can, give you questions to ask.
That's
it can
amazing.
give you evidence that you might want to think about trying to gather to introduce to prove your case.
Draft your opening statement.
Draft your
Closing
opening statement. Right. Give me a compelling, more drama, more, whatever you want it to do. It can spice it up one way or another.
And even find the law a little bit. I know sometimes it's off on the law.
Yeah. But
sometimes if I put it in, it gets me close to the statute I'm looking for. So saves some time.
And what we use is we got sold by Westlaw on their Westlaw Co-Counsel, which is their AI. And they've just got a chat box, and it's a closed AI. So it's got like all of their legal databases, which is huge. But then you can upload documents too. So you could upload like 5 deposition transcripts and say, okay, analyze these deposition transcripts and tell me what legal claims are at play here. And it will just boom, 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 go.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So that we have really liked a lot in using that. It can draft medcrons. It can do a demand letter for you. ChatGPT can do that. But we're so worried about the HIPAA part of it. We want to, we kind of stray away from that. So I think AI is going to play a huge role.
Yeah, I do too. And it's getting met with, even within my own firm. So we use it a lot for marketing too, just getting marketing ideas and content. But we had a meeting this morning, and we've got even some young people in the firm that are very, surprisingly, very worried about AI taking over the world.
Right.
So they're actually kind of hesitant to use AI. And then we've got older people. I thought maybe it would just be the older generation that was worried about AI taking over the world, but
no, it's
the younger people.
Maybe they see the danger, right? They understand it.
Yeah, so just trying to educate the staff too about this is a good thing. Yeah.
Well, it's gonna. I know this much. I don't know what the scope of it is going to be long term, Holly, but I know it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. I do too.
I mean, it is going to be a huge part of the future.
Yeah, we know like this much. Yeah.
Yeah, we're right. We're just the tip of the iceberg. One of our last topics here is tips and tricks from a great probate estate lawyer. Part of this, we always try to offer something of value just to folks on the street. So blue collar workers, 9-to-5ers, paycheck to paycheck workers, what do they need to know about their estate plan? What should they be doing?
Yeah.
What do they need to do?
Yeah. So a common thing that you can do that's free, just anyone can do this, is make sure that if you have bank accounts, that all the beneficiary designations are correct.
Right.
We administer a lot of estates after people die.
Yes.
And there are a surprising amount of ex-spouses that are named as the beneficiary of your 401k because you got divorced and you forgot to change it.
There's an interesting statute on this, isn't there?
Yes.
I had this case once, but a long time ago. But go ahead. But anyway, so tell us more about that.
So that's the last place you want your assets to go to your ex-spouse, right?
Ex-spouse, right.
Make sure your beneficiary designations are to an adult that's over 18, because that's another big area. We fix a lot of estates because people have bank accounts or 401ks or life insurance, and they put their kid who's 12 years old as the beneficiary of a life insurance policy. And it's just a very expensive fix after you pass away.
Okay, now tell me that. I'm going to learn something. I think I might know the answer. But what is the fix? So that happens. I pass away. My beneficiary is my 6-year-old little boy.
Yeah.
What happens?
Yeah, so he's lucky. He's got a lot of money, hopefully.
Oh,
these days.
we'll see.
With the life insurance policy is what I mean.
Oh, yeah, that's
So a lot of
true.
people-
If I bite the dust, he's going to be low.
Yeah, I don't know what your net worth is. Sorry. A lot of people, it's life insurance. You got life insurance through work or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You got
right.
young kids, so this happens all the time. So you name your 6-year-old, you pass away, whoever's the guardian of your 6-year-old, whether that's their surviving parent or
Grandma,
aunt,
left,
uncle. Yeah, they're left because the 6-year-old, the life insurance company won't write a check to a 6-year-old.
No, of course not. Right.
Yeah, so you have to go to court to get someone appointed to be the conservator for that child.
Put it in a restricted account, something like that.
Restricted account. It's expensive, right? You got
Yes.
lawyer fees. The child has to have a lawyer and a guardian ad litem. And for the rest of their life until they're 18, it's in a restricted account. And then when they're 18, suddenly they got, we did one last week, 500,000. The kid's going to get 18. And what 18-year-old does well with?
$500,000.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So that's just a free thing you can do is don't name minor beneficiaries on an account.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they're adult, responsible people if you don't have a will.
Excellent. Well, okay. Got another one. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. The other thing is check the title on your house in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So, of course, we would encourage everyone to get a will or power of
Right,
attorney.
sure.
But a lot of people, they're married, and especially if you've owned your house for more than 15 years in South Carolina, the laws kind of changed. So there might be 2 spouses, and both of their names are on the title of the house.
Right.
So you think when, I die, the house is going to go to my husband.
Right.
But sometimes
How
it
happens,
doesn't if
Right.
it doesn't have these words called joint tenants with right of survivorship.
100%.
And it's a super easy fix on your title. You may have to get a lawyer to help you, but it's
Just create a new deed.
Create a new deed, put those words on it, and then the house will automatically pass to your
have
spouse
to
or
go
whoever
through
you're sharing the
probate.
house with, and you avoid probate.
Yeah.
Which is
Could
good.
be subject to creditors. You kind of bringing back like PTSD when I did probate work. But you get the situation where husband, wife, husband dies, but he's got 2 kids from prior marriage, doesn't have a will.
Yes.
Your tenants in common. And when I say tenants in common, I mean you don't have that magic language in there, right, Holly?
Yes.
So what does that do? What happens there? Well, now you got a problem, right?
All the time. And those blended families get litigated all the time
Yes.
over a house because you're right.
Exactly.
Surviving spouse lives in the house and the kids want their piece of the house before he or she passes
problem.
away.
Yeah.
And it's expensive, and no one wants to leave their family with conflict and court proceedings after they die, So
Well, those are 2 very good tips from Holly Simpson here, and that is check your deed. Make sure that you and your spouse, your house, your marital home is joint tenants with rights of survivorship, and get your beneficiary designations in line, and don't have minor children on there. Question though, if I do want my minor child to have something, but how could I guess I could designate maybe a trust I set up for him, right?
yes,
answer?
that's a very good idea. Yeah, the trust is the best way. And you can either do a will that has a trust inside of it or a separate standalone trust, just depending on maybe what your other assets are. But if it's in a trust, you can say that money stays in the trust until my kid is whatever age, he should get, maybe my kid gets some at 18, some at 25, some at 30.
Sure.
Give him a few chances to blow it.
Right. No, absolutely.
But you may not want to, sometimes people think, well, I'll just name my brother as the beneficiary. My brother will take care of my kids.
That's a dangerous choice, right?
Dangerous, because what if my brother gets, the money's in his.
If he develops a drug problem and falls
or
off the deep end,
he gets divorced, and half of that's subject to his
I didn't think about that.
wife. Yeah,
Right,
so even though my brother's a good guy, he, who knows what his spouse is going to do? He's got a good spouse for what it's worth.
No, right.
Personally.
I'm sure, right. But we got to use examples in the law, right?
That's right, yeah.
So, this has been great. Let me kind of close with this is, and this is more me just picking your brain for good ideas on, running your business and running your law firm. How do you manage the attorneys? That had to be a big step when you started bringing in other lawyers, right? I know it was for me. It's one thing to hire a few more paralegals, but when you start bringing on other lawyers to your law firm, what kind of brought you to that decision? And obviously it's going well, but tell me how it's going.
Yeah, so in the beginning, I brought on a partner. She was very good at the law, more than me, because I'd only practiced a couple of years.
Okay.
She was very experienced. And so I brought her on because I was like, I would love to have, it's scary when you're out on your own. You don't want to commit malpractice.
Indeed.
And I thought, she's good. And she was great. She's a great lawyer.
Right.
Yes. So that was the first start. And then we just started getting more work, and you realize I can't handle all this.
Right.
And you can hire extra paralegals, but there's only...
At some point, you need a lawyer to do all this work.
And then we also developed this culture in our firm because I came from a bigger firm where they didn't treat the paralegals very well. And I think that's a little bit common in larger law firms. Felt like there was like lawyers are here and paralegals are here. And I just never agreed with that.
Sure.
Because I thought if I have great paralegals, they're going to make me they make me look so good, you know?
Good.
And they can do so many things better than I can in a lot of ways. Like so many things.
I can't format a Word document.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
I mean, it's,
or work the postage meter. Like, am I
there's a million
mailing out a
things.
letter? Yeah. Part of the interview, when I interview attorneys, we're looking for culture fits and an attorney that just realizes that we value the paralegals here and they're our equals. So it just starts from the interview process even. And that just helps us be more of a team instead of.
Now,
Yeah.
I know earlier you said that you were a big fan of what I call guerrilla marketing. And I mean that like tactical marketing, like Rotary Club and like, getting out there, pressing the flesh, right?
Yes.
So has that changed? Are you doing more traditional marketing now, or is it still just a more massive guerrilla marketing effort?
It's
or both.
It has had to change because you don't have time. I honestly love the guerrilla marketing. That's probably why I did a lot of it.
Right.
And part of me is like, oh, with this new lawyer, I'd like to get out and do more guerrilla marketing because I just think it's fun. So part of owning a law firm is trying to do what you like. Right?
Absolutely. No, that's a great benefit of it.
But yeah, we're doing other marketing. Yeah, we have videos going and social media people and
Really
newsletters and Google and
I mean, you got a whole intake team now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that was a huge step for me too when I decided to do intake. Okay, well, we are almost out of time for episode 3 of Practical Law. It has been an absolute pleasure to discuss and talk about the growth of her practice and the tips and tricks that she institutes in practicing probate law with Holly Simpson of Simpson Law. Holly, thanks so much. Seriously,
Yeah,
this was
thank you
awesome.
so much for having me. This is a lot of fun.
So now, if somebody wants to reach out to you and get excellent legal advice, how do they get in touch with your law firm?
Thank you. www.simpsonestatelaw.com.
Wonderful. So if you heard that, go to simpsonestatelaw.com for all of your probate needs. If you have a personal injury need, give us a call or actually just reach out to us on the web at 864law.com and we'll be right in touch with you.